Okay, this is a reaction video. This is, like I said, I just got back from London. The London Tube, the don'ts of using the London Underground. Hopefully I didn't do any of these things that he's talking about, but I've had some experience with the Tube. Wonderful system getting around London. But let me see, the don'ts of the Tube, and I'll agree or disagree.
Don'ts?
Again, please click like, share, and subscribe for Walter's World, as well as like and subscribe for me as well.
Of using the London Underground. You know, the Tube. The subway, the metro. Well, here it's called the Tube, alright?
Yeah, I was actually not too far from London Eye when at the hotel I stayed at.
And the first don't I have for you is don't skip out on using the Tube.
Yeah, and I did not do that. That is one thing I didn't do. And I didn't go to Piccadilly Circus, but I did use the Tube.
It will make your time here in London so much more efficient, so much quicker to get around, so much easier, and so much more of a typical visit of just being in London, because the Tube is a part of being in London. And probably the most famous saying you'll hear from the Tube is, mind the gap. And when they say
yeah, they do. Don't mind the gap. That is one thing you have to do.
Mind the gap, that means don't forget to look before you leap, before you go into the train, or when you're getting out of the train, because sometimes there can be quite the gap between the train and the platform, and you can get hurt, like, really bad, so do be aware of that. So that's like a little safety thing.
Now, that's one thing I always do is I look before I leap. I basically, before I get off a train, and also when I get off of the walkways that move, things like that, I always make sure that I step before I get to the other side before I, it's important.
Here, but I think before we actually get into the don'ts when you're on the train, we need to talk about some of the don'ts before you actually get into the platforms. And that is, one, don't think you have to have a travel card or an Oyster card to take the...
No, I didn't have a... basically what I did was... I know I could have done it with my credit card. What I did was I bought a one-day pass. Actually, no, I bought a 2-day pass. Whatever it was. I bought a pass, and I was able to get in there. I didn't have an Oyster card or a travel card, but it was really straightforward what you needed to do to use the Tube. It was fast. It was pretty straightforward.
The Tube here. You can actually, if you have one of those credit cards that you just tap, you can just tap to go in. If you have a phone that you can pay with your phone, like Google Pay, boom, you can just tap and go right in. So you can use that. So don't think you have to use that little kiosk machine to get a travel card.
Even though I did do that, but it worked out well for me.
Or get an Oyster card or whatever, you can just use what you already have. Because I know some people, just the thought of that kiosk thing scares them and keeps them from doing public transportation. You don't have to worry about.
Yeah, I don't know why that would bother you to use the kiosk machine. It's pretty straightforward.
That, all right? So with that, I have to tell you is don't forget to tap in with your card or with your
tap out as well.
Travel card or your Oyster card or your phone when you go into the Tube. But also, don't forget to tap when you come out, because you need the card, you need the travel card.
Now, the only time you'd run into that situation is if somebody goes before you and the gate is open, you just walk around through right after them. You have to tap out. If you're the first one there, it's not going to open unless you tap out. So you don't have to worry about that. But just make sure you tap out, because if somebody goes through and then you follow them and don't tap out, then they'll find you.
Or you need your credit card that you paid with to get in. You've got to tap that to open the barriers again. Okay. Now, if you're a family and you're coming here, one thing I got to tell you. You can only get one person on that credit card tapping in. So if there's multiple people, you need a credit card for everybody, or then you have to get the travel cards to get people through.
Now, I was by myself, so I didn't have two people. So
okay? But also, if you have the travel cards too, don't lose those. You need those to get out of the barriers as well, okay? Now, when you're coming up to the barriers to go into the Tube, my next don't for you is don't wait to get out.
Hey, I was at Victoria Underground Station. I was there.
Your credit card or your travel card or your Oyster card, because people will just run into you. You're not going to make a Londoner more mad than you get up to the barrier and then pull your purse up or your bag up to go look for your card.
I almost did that just to see if I could tick somebody off. Just waited till I, like on the way out, but there was nobody behind me, so I couldn't really do that. Even though I kind of wanted to do that just to see how annoyed they would get. But there was also a number of different kiosks they could have gone to. It wasn't like it was busy. It wasn't like it was rush hour or anything like that.
Card. No. Stand to the side, get it out, and then go to the barriers and go in. All right? And when you go in and you're going to take the escalators, my next don't for you is don't stand on the left.
Yes, you stand on the right, and let the people go down, walk on the left. That's how it works.
That's just for the people that are in a hurry, that are walking down, or a lot of times running down the escalators to get to their trains. You stand on the right. You have your luggage. You stand on the right, all right? I think that's another thing to mention. Don't bring your luggage on the tube here because there's not a lot of space on there. Like my cousin.
Yeah, one thing I did notice. I mean, look, look. There's a small suitcase in this picture. That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. But if you have what I have, a big behemoth of a suitcase, no, don't bring that on there. That is one thing I did notice because when I got on there at Vauxhall, it was jam packed with people, and oh my god, that would have been a nightmare if I put a suitcase on there.
Cousin who I'm here with, he's 6'1", something like that. His brother's 6'6", and we're joking, thinking about how much fun it's going to see him whacking his head on so many things in the tube because there's not space. Okay, so be careful with that. So if you're going to be needing to take the tube to the airports or something like that, you want to take it in the middle of the day when there's not a lot of people on there because you don't want to take the tube during rush hour because it is so packed, especially if you have luggage. All right, so
look where I was at Park Plaza. It was a long haul to take my suitcase to walk all the way down to Vauxhall to get it. It just wouldn't work, so I took a cab. So I didn't take the tube to the airport.
Be aware. Also, don't think it's the same price for the tube all the time because if you travel at peak times, i.e. rush hour, the ticket costs more. They're going to charge you more for that. So be aware of that. Now, my cousin just reminded me, he's like, Mark, don't forget to tell him about the zones. And you have to realize the pay structure is different depending on the zones you're going to be traveling in from zone 1 to zone 6. And I'm going to tell you, if you're going to be coming here, don't stay out in zone 6. It's too far out. Pay the money and stay close to zones 1 and 2.
Now, Arsenal's in, I don't know what zone that is. That's Eastbourne Platform 6, whatever it is. And I took Arsenal, I got to Arsenal on the Saturday when I went there for the stadium tour, but I didn't take it on the way to the game on Sunday.
That's going to be more helpful as a traveler than going after those farther ones. Also, the farther you go out of the zones, the more it costs you to come in. And the thing is, when you're coming in on the tube, another thing I think is important, when you're coming down the escalator and you're getting to the platforms, you'll notice there's like these big archways that you kind of get onto the platform for. And tourists tend to do this. They have a big group of tourists and they just stop right at that entry arch. But you have to realize there's a whole platform there. You could walk down the platform. Don't just stand at the archway, okay?
Now, when I was there, when I got to at Vauxhall, when I went down there, both times I went there, I just was pretty much walking. The train just pulled up. Just waited for the people got off, so I didn't have to worry about that.
It's a little annoying for people that are trying to get on the trains. Also, when you're on the train, there are some don'ts there. One, don't eat any stinky food. No one likes that. You don't drink.
There was a guy across from me. He was eating a sandwich and things like that, but he wasn't smelling up the cart.
On the tube either. You don't have alcohol on the tube. That's not allowed. Also, don't man spread. Look, you don't need that much space, pal. All right, we all been in the bathroom.
When the first couple stops, I was standing because it was jam packed. But when we got to Victoria and people got out, I was able to sit down. And yeah, there was no place to man spread.
All right, you're fine. Okay, so don't do that. Also, don't think the seat next to you is for your luggage. If you have your luggage or you have a bag, you're gonna put it in front of you. Okay, and my people that wear backpacks, don't wear your backpack when you're in the tube. Take it off and put it in front of you. One, just because you don't whack people, but also that's when pickpockets are there. Because I got to tell you this: don't be unaware when you're on the tube because there are pickpockets, especially at some of the busier stations, busier stops, or peak time when it's really.
I really didn't have to worry about that because I was pretty much safe from pickpocketing. Everything I went there with, I came back with, so I didn't have to worry about pickpockets, things like that. But I was always aware of that.
Packed. You don't notice that person like accidentally putting their hand in your wallet to take your phone, or in your purse to get your wallet or whatever. So do be aware of that. Now, one of the things that really makes the locals sad here is whenever there's replacement bus services. And I got to tell you this: don't forget to look for closures for certain lines, because sometimes lines are closed, sometimes they're doing maintenance, sometimes there's an issue. So do be aware of that. But what's cool is they actually announce those things. There's like a board when you go in that will tell you where the issues are, so you know if you're going to be on the.
Yeah, I did notice that, but I didn't have anything to deal with. That was another thing I didn't have to worry about.
Victoria line, if there's an incident, or Northern line, if there's an incident, whatever, they tell you so you can plan around it. Also, if you're looking for an app that's going to help you, don't forget to download City Mapper, okay?
Yeah, City Mapper was huge for me when I was there. City Mapper was fantastic.
Because on there, it has the tube trains too, so if there is delay, it's already set up. It makes your life so much easier. Because some people think, oh, I'll just use a Google Map thing, it'll be fine, I'll just check on my
And
phone.
Google Maps is fine, but City Mapper is much better.
I gotta tell you this, don't expect cell service in the tube. It's not going to happen. I mean, if it's outside, when it's the tube that's above ground, when you're in the farther zones.
I actually had service in the tube. I was able to use this tube perfectly, and it had no problems with the mobile service. I had no problems at all.
Yeah, you'll get a signal. But if you're in zone 1, you're underground, you're not going to get a signal at all. So don't expect it. So I know you may have an app that tells you things, but don't forget to get a map of the tube so you have it. And the thing is, when you're looking at the map of the tube, don't forget, you're going to see different colored lines for different lines, right? So you'll know what color is associated with what line. And if you want to know what direction it goes, don't forget to look at the end station. That's the direction it's going, okay? So you know where you need to be and which platform to be on. And what's cool is don't be sad if you're that tourist that has to look at the little sign saying, oh, these are the stops going this way and these are the stops going that way, because they have that stuff to help you when you're there, so you know what stops are on that train, on that platform. Use that to your advantage. And honestly, if you're lost or you have any issues, don't be afraid to ask. The people that work for the London Underground are super helpful.
Yeah, they were. They were very helpful. I had to ask when I was going to the Emirates Stadium, where the Arsenal, which train was I got to the, I forget the name of the station I got to, but which one did I take for the Arsenal station? They were very helpful.
And they're there to help you, and they want to help you, and it will make a difference. And also in terms of when you shouldn't expect the tube, don't expect the tube on Sundays.
Oh, one is from Vauxhall. There you go. Bus to Wimbledon from Vauxhall. That's the station I was at.
Because that's where they do a lot of the maintenance work, so things in the morning on Sundays can be sometimes difficult. Like if you're planning to take the tube out to an airport, or they're planning to take the tube to get to a bus to take you to an airport or to a train station, you might be out of luck. So do be aware. Sundays are a little hit and miss sometimes with the tube.
It was hit for me. I was able to get to Emirates Stadium perfectly fine.
Now, another thing I think I should tell you is when you come and you're on the tube, don't talk to me. Look, I'm not saying me. I'm saying when you're on the tube, you don't talk to people on the tube. You don't talk on the tube. You don't sing on the tube. You don't listen to your music out loud on the tube. The tube is a quiet time. It's a quiet space, okay? So remember that when you're there. You don't remember your manners when on there. Don't forget to give up your seat if you see a pregnant lady or someone with small kids or an elderly couple. You give those up, okay? So please, don't forget your manners when you're on the tube. Oh, and another little hint, don't breathe too deeply in the summertime.
I wasn't there in the summertime, so I don't have to worry about that one.
It can get a little, let's say, ripe on the subway in the summer with all the travelers here, and not everyone visiting Bath, England beforehand, let's say.
Got it. Understood. You don't have to say anymore.
Another tip I have for you is don't freak out if you miss your stop, because sometimes it's too full and you can't get out, right? But it's okay, because you can get out at the next one. You just go over,
and yeah, things are within walking distance. Like I said, I didn't get off at the Arsenal train station. I got off at the one before the Arsenal train stop, and just walked to the Emirates Stadium perfectly fine. Everything was within walking distance. It's not a big deal.
The tube back, they run frequently, like every 2 to 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes. There'll be another train coming, so you'll be okay. So don't freak out, because I've seen people really lose it because they missed their stop. Look, it'll come back around. Just get off, go to the other side, you'll be fine. And also, going back to the kind of check your closures things, don't be surprised if you see the locals trying when they say replacement bus service for certain parts of the tube, because it is kind of frustrating when you're taking the tube and there's replacement bus service for a few stops because they are doing maintenance. So
Yeah, I didn't have to deal with any of that, and I didn't take any of the bus. I should have taken the London bus. Should have taken it around when I got there on Thursday, but the jet lag got me.
Be aware of that. Now, a couple more little things I want to say about don'ts when you're in the tube. One, don't just stand by the doors, because what you'll see is there'll be a big clump of people by all the doors, but then nobody in the middle. Move to the center of the carriage. It'll give you a lot more space. You'll be more comfortable, and not everybody smash right there. And also, if you are the people by the door, don't stand in the way of the people trying to get off, okay? Or the people trying to get on. Just try to move out of the way so they can get on and off. And that's why...
And that's pretty much straightforward. Everybody knows that. Everybody should know that. You don't need to say that. everybody knows to get out of the way of the people getting off the train so you can get on. That just makes perfect sense because it's going to tell you when it's going to close. The door's going to close anyway.
And for my travelers that come here, I know some places it's like the door is open and it's a mad rush both directions. Don't forget to let the people off of the tube before you go in, okay? So those are some don'ts for the tube I thought you might want to know before you came to London, because honestly, it is one of those things you have to do when you're here, and I wish you have a great time.
Okay, again, the London Tube, don't the London Underground. I pretty much agree with most of everything he said. Some of these things are pretty much straightforward. Like, don't you can move down the platform or get out of the way of people getting off the train, things like that. But good things from Walter's World. Please click like, share, and subscribe for him as well as for me. Have a good rest of your day. Thanks for watching.